Hello, my friends. Pearlo Wisdom here from the Ice Guys. And today I'm going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic in the land. Will the Toronto Maple Leafs make the playoffs next year? I just did Montreal. Before that, I did the Anaheim Ducks. Check those out. Not a lot of Anaheim Ducks people watching there. Wonder why that is. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs and whether they are going to make the playoffs this year. I'll be going down a little bit of the roster and what I think might be the mindset of Treliving with the moves he's making and such. And I'll try not to talk. I've talked about go over to my TikTok, Perlo's NHL POW TikTok, or go to my Twitter at Perlo's NHL POW, and you can see all my thoughts on the Marner deal. So I'll try to stay away from it a little bit here, but I will look at the roster and what Treliving may be looking at. So let's take a look. Before I do, though, Jaime's Body Lube. It's the best. There, I said it. No chafing, boys and girls. All right. Let's go to Puckpedia, shall we? The Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, we know. Uh, Basically, in a weird way, let Marner walk, but didn't let him walk because they ended up getting Waugh for him in what was construed as a sign and trade, and I don't even think that's what it was. But I won't get into that in this. I will talk about Marner and how he's going to be missed in the lineup a little bit. Marner played the most defensive starts of a top six forward on the team by a long shot. And in the league, I think he was like top 6 or 7 in the league for D zone starts in the regular season. He played top PK, and because he was played in the defensive zone as much as he was also played as a shutdown player against the other team's top line. Did so and got 100 points and did so for a full 82 games without getting rest at all, like he did for the last 8 years. And you wonder why he might have been a little tired come playoff time, including Austin Matthews as well. And this is what we're going to have to replace. By the way, it was a Selke Trophy level. Not that he received a Selke Trophy, but he was top 10 quite a bit of those years, top 3 once. And I admit I am not in line with a lot of the Selke voters, but they were right here, except for the fact he should have been a lot higher most of the time. All right, Matthew Knies, beast, beautiful, beautiful move, 7-7. Got no problems with Matthew Knies. He's still got a lot of growth in his 3-zone defensive play and such like that, but I mean, he's going to be a beast. So I have no problems with that. Fantastic move, getting Knies done. Top LW, nothing wrong with that. Austin Matthews, first question mark. Will his back or wrist or whatever it is, looks like a wrist injury that apparently didn't need rest. It probably was nerve damage or something. I don't know. He went to Germany to try to figure it out. That's why we think he went to Germany. But if it's not taken care of, it's going to be a rough go for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If it is, then he's going to have to make up minutes for Marner in a shutdown role that Marner played, and hopefully not take top PK minutes, as well as everything else that he does, and score a ton of goals because he was already doing a lot of that when Marner was there. So again, hopefully Toronto can get up into a decent playoff spot. And this time, don't give a shit about the President's Trophy and give these guys a rest. But I doubt it'll happen. I doubt it will, boys and girls. William Nylander. William Nylander is an incredible offensive talent. No doubt about that. From the offensive blue line in, he's one of the best there is in the league. Problem is, that's what he does. And once he's not there, and a lot of times while he is there, he has virtually no defensive awareness at all. I don't know if it's awareness or care. He treats the D zone like it's the plague. Basically, William Nylander would, if he was playing for the Florida Panthers, he probably would have got Huberto'd. Huberto had the same thing. I remember when Huberto got traded from Florida to Calgary, especially with Calgary fans. I argued and argued and argued that they lost that trade really bad. And not just with them, but with other people as well. And they did, because Huberto was basically what Nylander is. He flies the zone, meaning he leaves the defensive zone way too early if he happens to be there, trying to get to the red line to get soft passes so he can go in and get and get goals that way. And he does it a lot. Breakaway goals if he can. Looks lovely doing it. And if you're just like your average fan, you think, oh man, Nylander's awesome. But you forget about the fact that guys like the next guy I'm going to say, John Tavares, was doing all the work on that line. He is still at 34, is still a solid two-way center. He can put up huge, he's an elite second line center and probably an average first line center in the league still today. And he's very aware three zones defensively. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Because you know who's the best team in the league, three zones defensively? The Florida Panthers. That's the way the league is going now. And he's had to do it with this guy on his line a lot, Max Domi, who is a glorified fourth liner, getting paid third line money, I guess, at $3,750,000. He is basically the same as Nylander. Everything I said about Nylander, you can apply to Max Domi, but he's a great playmaker when he has the opportunity in the offensive zone. But besides that, he is pretty much ass. Oh, he gets physical. And usually he does it if you really watch Max Domi and the physicality that he provides, it's usually after the scrum has already started. Max Domi is usually not in the middle of it. He'll come in late and hit somebody when they're not looking and then scurry off to the box. Or one of my favorite ones he likes to do is in the offensive zone when everybody's going the other way, he'll sit there and slightly cross-check a guy and yap at him while he's supposed to be getting back into his own zone. I love that one. I make he's sort of like a high school or a teenage kid. He treats the defensive zone like a teenage kid who hates doing homework. He will find any way to not go there, any way whatsoever. And that's one of the ways he does it, and it's frustrating to watch. So then Treliving picked up Matias Michelli, who put up pretty good numbers in Arizona. The problem was, well, at least the first couple of years, the problem was that Matias Michelli was used on a team that was extremely young, and they really didn't have any depth. And the way he was deployed was he was used in the offensive zone as much as possible. They practically had a cane waiting for him to cross the neutral zone into the defensive zone and drag him into the box. He is not very good that way. He's too small. He's not doesn't have a high hockey IQ for defensive play. But if you can keep him in the offensive zone, he can put up points. What you'll notice though is when Utah started bringing in players that could play on those lines, their young players started getting older, he zoomed down the lineup, playing fourth line a lot of the time, if he played at all. In fact, he was healthy scratched a lot. And now Toronto's going to be playing him on the right side. So have fun with that, John Tavares, playing with Max Domi and Matias Michelli. You're going to be sitting there in defensive zone going, hello, 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 hello. Little echo. That's my echo. It's not going to be pretty for John Tavares if these lines stay that way. I doubt they will. I think Max Domi will go down the lineup and Bobby McMahon will get his shot up there on the second line. Much better two-way player. Yes, he struggles offensively because he's not a top six. He should play in your bottom nine, maybe third line. Looks like a good third liner down the road. He's not too bad. He's 29 years old though, so down the road, this is pretty much what he is. He's not fantastic as a third liner, but he's better than Max Domi. So you might as well chuck him up there and see what he can do with Tavares. Nicholas Waugh, a, a good third liner, good average third liner, can pot a couple for you, can play right wing center, which he may end up having to play right wing next year when I get to that. But I mean, does this replace Michelli, Nicholas Waugh, who can play PK? So he's not a bad penalty killer. I mean, he's average penalty killer. He can help take the PK minutes, which should have been happening already when Marner was there. It was outrageous that he had. Do you know that Marner had 175 minutes of penalty kill time last year? Do you know what Barkov, who won the Selke, had? 100. Marner had 75 more minutes of PK time in the regular season than Barkov. Actually, there was only two other players that had more PK minutes than him. Boldy, who was playing on a terribly injured lineup, and they really had no choice. And Eichel, and I want to look at why that was, because now he's going to Vegas. So I think Eichel will be happy there'll be a guy there to help him there on the PK. Anyways, Bobby McMahon isn't bad. These are just not bad players or bad players here in the bottom. And David Kampf, whatever. Scott Lawton, good fourth liner, sure. Steven Lorentz, okay, whatever, fourth liner. That's it. That's what you got on the forward group. So you might see where I'm going here. Jake McCabe, Tanev, beautiful. Tanev is a top right team. McCabe should be fourth, or like on the second pair. Riley, decent second pair LD, nothing great. Carlo, actually overrated. I don't know what happened to him the last 2 years in Boston, but he stopped being physical, and he just stopped being the Carlo that we saw the first couple of years. Tell you the truth, it's pretty average. Benoit Simon is a lot of fun. You gotta really enjoy everything that he gets out of his skills, which aren't really that high, but nobody tries harder than Simon, and he's always good to have a guy like that on your team. It's not the best defenseman, but he had a really good defensive year last year with eye test and with analytics, and he never stops trying to get better. You got to love a guy like that. And Ekman Larson, he's okay. He's okay at this stage of his career. Anthony Stolarz will have his work cut out for him, but he is a fantastic goalie. I think after last year, you can say he's somewhere in the top 5 to top 7 goaltenders in the league. He got no problems in goal. Joseph Wall, solid backup. Maybe, one, you could even go, I even go as far as 1A. But besides that, you got good goaltending. This isn't a great team. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's not terrible. It could make the playoffs. But am I saying Toronto's a shoo-in to make the playoffs? No. Nicholas Robertson, maybe you put him up there. Again, it's a whole bunch of guys that are really not good, in the way that the league is moving to, that a team has to be good in. You have to have good 3-zone D players. You have to. And if you don't, you might win in the regular season, but you're not winning in the playoffs. And I don't see this team winning in the playoffs. So here's my thing. It's plus 350 right now for Toronto to miss the playoffs. At least it was when I got it. I don't know if it's still there today. But I would put some money on it. I'm not saying that Toronto is a for sure to miss the playoffs, but I am saying that there's a good enough chance at plus 350 that they miss. Ottawa's getting only better. Detroit made some decent moves. They had a decent run last year. I mean, I'm not sold on their team, but they got a lot of young guys like Casper and Raymond getting better. They have young deep pair and Cider and what's his name? I can't remember his name. Can't remember his name. Anyways, he's going to be a freaking stud. So they got some young guys that could hit their stride next year and really give Toronto a go. So also Montreal made the playoffs last year. I have a feeling that it's going to be more difficult for them this year. You can check out my play on that. But I am going to look for that one player that I was talking about in Detroit before I go. So you got a lot of teams that are getting better, and I didn't see any of the teams above them getting worse. Boston's not going to make it, that's for sure. So Toronto's going to be in tough. Edvinson is the guy I was talking about. Watch out for him. He's going to stud. He's going to be fantastic. Should hit his stride next year. So you got a lot of guys in Detroit that are getting better, that are getting younger. They brought in some veterans to support them. They just could do it. And here's the final thing I have to say about this. I think Treliving is not trying too hard. I think this is a throwaway season for Toronto. I do. I think all they care about is there's a chance they can get McDavid next year. And as long as there's a chance, I don't see them taking any long contracts to be good right now. They'll take little Michelli deals and, bring in a guy like Waugh. It's guys to fill in the roster and then hope to hell they can hit a home run and get McDavid next year, who is from Toronto and who has yet to say if he believes that he can win over and over again in Edmonton. I don't know how he could believe he could win over and over again in Toronto, but they just might be able to convince him. And if there's a shot, they're going to make sure they got the cap space to do it. So, Toronto missed the playoffs, plus 350. Have a great day, everybody. Catch me on the ice, guys. Starting at the beginning of the season, voted the best sports podcast in North America. Catch it. Certainly the best NHL podcast in North America, and we do NHL there. So if you love NHL, you like to make money, like to have frolic, hit that. Also, I put all my picks, my futures, and you can talk to me because we do spaces on my Twitter, which is basically an audio, everybody can come and join and talk type thing where we have fun and talk about hockey at Pearlo's NHL POW. Catch you there, everybody. Have a great day. Okay.